All right. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of Market Rants. My name is King Wabi from Because Bitcoin. And today I'm here joined by Big Cheds and also our very own Tucker. And we're going to talk all things crypto, right? So if you guys can do me a favor before we officially get started, smash that like button, smash it up. Go ahead and throw some W's in the chat and let's talk crypto, right? Yesterday, FOMC, everyone was worrying about macro. And I'll tell you what, man, all those guys that were worrying about macro, it seems that they really got blown out. And listen, guys, we're about 4 weeks away from the halving, and I think we're about to officially get started for the halving rally, man. So, Cheds, what's going on, brother? I know there was a few complications with communication as far as YouTube and all that stuff, but I'm glad you were still able to join us, man. So, what's going on, brother? How are you?
What's up, everybody? Big Cheds. Glad to be here. King Wabi in the house, rocking the chest here, bro. What's happening, huh?
Hey, man, I just decided to throw on a casual tropical polo, man. I didn't really feel like putting on a
Yeah.
shirt, right? I just got back in the gym on Monday
Okay.
about 2 times after getting sick for about 2 weeks, man. And I'm
Yeah.
feeling good, man. So I put
Oh,
on
yeah.
a tight Hugo Boss shirt and I'm ready to rock and roll, baby.
I love it. Yeah, no, I thought we were doing spaces and I couldn't get my stuff set up, so apologies to everybody. No visuals from me, just the soothing, dulcet tones of my voice. So
Tucker, what's going on, brother? Welcome, man. Thanks for hopping on, man. I'm still getting used to this whole YouTube thing, man.
No, for sure, man. For sure. It looks like we're dumping a little bit here, but yeah, like you said yesterday, the macro guys were real loud, but this is what happened yesterday, right? Like literally, this was
don't,
Jerome
guys, isn't it
Powell.
that like the macro guys sound smart? It's like, but the only thing they don't have is the price. I mean, you can always sound so smart. I have a guy in my DM keep telling me the dump's coming, it's bear market. I'm like, great, tell the price. Like, right? It's the only thing they
Mhm.
don't have.
Yeah, price is what dictates the narrative, right? Like in 2022, everyone was talking about CPI and all that stuff, and I remember when FTX went down, man, people were saying, "Oh, we're going to 9K, we're
Yeah.
going to 8,000." But the thing is, man, like I think we had the largest sell volume candle in all of Coinbase's history, and same thing with Binance. And when you have such capitulation to both sides, it ends up creating the narrative off of the lows, right? Like I know DeFi was like a huge thing for the first few weeks of 2023 and all that stuff. And now it's like, all right, now we're pumping because of the ETF and all that stuff. And the ETF has been spoken about for years and years and years, man. But Chad, let's go ahead and talk some charts, man. There's an
Yeah.
interesting chart I do want to talk about. Tucker, if you can bring it up, Phantom. It just broke
Mm.
out of a 2-year range, man. And,
Mhm.
full disclosure, I did buy Phantom yesterday in the early afternoon. And it really reminds me of how Chainlink broke out of that
Mhm.
$5-7 range, man. And
Mhm.
now people are talking about this narrative of like, oh, Phantom is like this parallel EVM and all that stuff. And I'm like, hold on, guys. Does anybody know what any of this terminology means?
Right.
Because there's a saying that I say on all of our content, right? Price is the ultimate arbiter of truth, and everything else is a complete psyop. So, Chads, man, what are your thoughts on this chart, man? I think
Yeah.
this baby can actually have some legs, brother.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice little breakout. That's a nice clear base. You get kind of a double eve, like a double rounded bottom. You get that clear peak there, like early 2023, right around like whatever 51 cents. Um, I tend to kind of, when I think about the altcoins, I have them in my mind in groupings. Like there's relative strength, stuff that's been super hot, like Sol, INJ, like Maker. I mean, there's a lot more, obviously, but I have the really strong ones. You have the stuff in the middle trying to catch up, and then you got the laggards that kind of look good only because they bounced a little bit. And this, so this is in the middle. I say FTM's pretty good. I don't think it's great. You definitely have a nice clear break of 50 cents. And it probably got a little more juice in it, maybe to the low ones. I'm not blown away with it. It's just for me, the market's carrying this one up a little bit. I like it a little bit. I don't like it a lot. And you make a great point is people kind of search for a reason after the price movement. Oh, it's just become because they're about to roll out their L7, Ferrari line, or I don't know what they're doing, but you know how it is where people try to explain it. And you don't really have to. But FTM's got good momentum. I know somebody in Bitcoin Live asked for it. I covered it last night, and I was like, "Oh, it's a pretty decent little chart. You've got some momentum here." Um, So it's decent. It's definitely decent, but I'm certainly not blown away. Would be my opinion.
Yeah, we're starting to have a lot of charts really like starting to actually break out of these long macro accumulation ranges.
Yeah. Can you pull up volume on that? Like, I don't see a lot of accumulation here on the Ascension. There's a little bit, but there's not like a ton of volume here, right?
Yeah, there's definitely not a ton. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I mean, I don't have a position personally. It's kind of in the same boat for me as like a SUI, like all those kind of, L1s who are now pivoting to AI and whatnot. So I don't know. It'll probably do well. But is it going to be like a significant outperformer? I don't know. It's just
like, would you rather be in like Fetch, right? Or
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Right? Ajax render, like relative strength.
Exactly right. And you've probably got a ton of bag holders from up in this region too. So it's going to be a little more difficult, but
flooding my bags, guys. Take a chill, man. Back it up, brother.
I know, right?
Back up like a tank, man. But yeah, dude, I'm really only looking at this as a trade. And man, there were a lot of charts back in 2020 that painted a similar structure right after that COVID crash. We even had Chainlink retrace a lot of that massive rally that it had. And, truth be told, man, like, I trade a lot on sentiment and hype and, a lot of these quote unquote narratives and all that stuff. It's kind of like what the stock market has with earnings and all that stuff. Once you have good earnings, I kind of paint that in the same picture with certain updates on tokens, and they just rally, right? Like with Nvidia, when they I think they had earnings last month, and just off of that, right before like 2 days before, I had bought Render, and I'm like, Nvidia's going to crush it, right? That chart reminds me of Tesla from the 2020 2021 rally. So I'm just going to use crypto as beta for Nvidia, because truth be told, I don't trade equities, man. And honestly, I have said that I've wanted to trade equities just because, like, I know certain stocks like Coinbase and Hood are going to do well if the crypto market does well, but I'm just not able to rotate enough, right? Because in the stock market, you have only a few select names outside of miners, right? So crypto is my home, and I'm a lot more familiar with it, given that it's a 24/7 asset. But Cheds, what are your thoughts on Bitcoin, man?
Yo, Wabi, check the price. You got a little donation there. I want to give love to one of my buddies. It looks like he showed up, Mr. Bilal.
Oh, okay. All right. New follower. What's up, guys? What's up, Bilal Shaban? How are you, man? Thanks for the donation, man. This is the first time that I get any of this.
You're feeling the power now, right? You get that little ask him, hey Bilal, if you want a chart request, ask for it. We'll take a look at it. So Wabi, what were you gonna ask me? Sorry to cut you off.
Oh yeah, man. I was just gonna say, with Bitcoin, right? The way we kind of just went below 69,000.
Yeah, not good.
It really shows me like, all right, it's time for us to cool our jets as far as, BTC and maybe ETH. And maybe we can have like one more up thrust on alts, right? I know on total 3, we bounced off of, I think that the support level was 640 million, right around there. We had a little bounce off of that. Altcoins kind of caught a breather yesterday and today. And it really reminds me of, anytime BTC has these massive moves, right? Bitcoin is up, year to date? I think the yearly open was 42K. So you're talking about like a 90% move year to date. So usually when Bitcoin, wherever it is, right, if it has a 90% move, there's usually a little cool off period, and certain alts catch a final breather before everything just kind of resets and goes into another long accumulation range. And, just going off of seasonality, right? Like if Bitcoin was going to move up from here violently, it would do so now. But I'm still entertaining, maybe something like 80, 85K. But, we got to get that stuff rolling out because, just from overall markets, like, equities and all that stuff, usually going into May and June, the market tends to cool off a bit. So, I think we got a couple of weeks of potential here, man. What are your thoughts, Cheds?
So it's like we did it. It's the dog caught the car a little bit, right? We got that all-time high, and everyone been kind of like talking about it. And I was definitely wrong, like multiple times when I said no new all-time high this year, and I tweeted it out, and I was like, bad call, Cheds. And but I'm happy to see it because I've been long. Ideally you would have wanted the price to hold initially on the breakout, but maybe that's a little bit too ambitious given just since just since July, I'm looking at the weekly chart, just since we broke out from 30K, October, right? So it was just from October, we kind of basically doubled and more. And so you have that much of a price movement into that high time frame level. It's normal for it to pause and cool down. And I tried to short 3 times and I got stopped out. And the third time I made a little money, but the first 2 I got clean stopped out. And I used 69K as a pivot because I kind of identified, you 69K, it's okay, that was the previous high. We broke up above it. If we're going to 80K, 85K, we should hold here in the throwback. And we didn't. So we're seeing a little bit of momentum rolling over, right? We're hitting that first 4-hour, MA 200 tag, daily EMA 34. But the backdrop is the market's still so far incredibly healthy. Even though we haven't had the Ethereum outperformance yet, we've still had altcoins chugging along. Even if Bitcoin pauses, I think altcoins should generally do fine. The stronger stuff should continue to do fine. It's just, we just went so high so fast that we haven't had a really like a deep drop in the last couple months, even to like 52K. Like that'd be really healthy, So for me, because I can very clearly point to high time frame incredibly strong, above rising EMA 8, just generally quite a strong chart, but we also just failed to hold on the breakout level. So what I kind of simplified to myself and I say, listen, I'm going to be cautious below 69K. I'm going to treat bounces into that as an underside retest. And then I'll watch where the price responded recently at 62K, and I'll kind of look at that zone in between, let it consolidate and chop in a little bit. If we lose 60K, I'm going to step back till like the low 50s and kind of go from there. If you think back to when we were breaking out, you started to see unbelievable price targets, and it's like 250K this year, and if you didn't believe it, you're fudding it. It was like the sentiment was so crazy, and it's tough for me because I called the top early and I got it wrong, so I've had to kind of step back and be like, it's messing me up here a little bit. It's confusing me a little bit. It's been chopping me around, right? I tried to short it. I got stopped out. I called top at 62K and it went to like 74K or whatever. So it's making it hard for me, right? And so when that happens, I step back a little bit and then I pick a level and I say, okay, 69K, 62K. And then I refocus and I kind of take my analysis that way.
Yeah, man. I remember all those predictions from a couple of days ago, and
yeah,
it's really like, with crypto, expect the unexpected.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I kind of had to pivot, because I was always, back and forth with, we're going to break all-time high before the halving.
Yeah.
And my speculation, and I put this on my personal profile, my speculation was, if we do make an all-time high, it's like the worst thing that can happen is you have a slight deviation below it, and then you just chop around below it, right? You go below 69K, you kind of chop around, because for the most part, man, even most people watching this, we've got almost 400 people in here.
Oh, nice.
Most of us trade altcoins, and that's just fact, right?
Yeah.
Most of us mainly focus on alts, and we may or may not have just like a smaller portion in Bitcoin. I know some people say, oh, I'm 50-60% in BTC, and the fact of the matter is, not really. That's not what the timeline says, right? That's not what YouTube says. And YouTube, everyone's always like, oh, can you chart my altcoin? Can you chart this? Can you chart that? And it's a good thing that Tucker brought that up, the total 3 chart, man. And I think that is a key indicator to really look at, as far as like, how crazy the parabolic can go, right? It's not until total 3, which is everything outside of Bitcoin and ETH, when things really, really, really get going. So
does that include stable coins?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It doesn't. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I kind of feel like with Bitcoin, it's kind of been this silent bull run where it's only people on CT and on YouTube that have really caught notice because, quote unquote retail, right? Even though we are retail, but I mean, dumb money, whatever you want to call it. It's not until certain altcoins or exchange tokens break their all-time high. And I think Total 3 is a very good indicator as far as like how dubious speculation can really get. And that's why, like, throughout the last 15, 16 months, all the altcoins that have rallied have kind of been, on chain or only a select few sectors, right? And yeah, I know we've had some dino coins like AVAX and NIR really catch up, but as far as like comparing this market to the 2021 market, it's almost like night and day, right? Even the nominal buyer for Bitcoin is a bit different, right? You've got all these ETF inflows and all that stuff. But Cheds, I know, I know we haven't really spoken about the ETF. I know it's been a couple of weeks. We've collaborated on content, but what are your thoughts on all these inflows that we've had to the ETF, man? Does it surprise you? Was it expected? What are your thoughts on all that stuff, man?
Well, it's been stronger than I thought overall, and I'll say that up front. In that there was so much hype leading into the ETFs, it would be natural to think we would have kind of cooled off after, but it continued. And it's interesting to see all our parents, the boomers and all that good stuff getting into Bitcoin. And I saw someone tweet out, wouldn't it be funny that, we run Bitcoin up into the boomer ETF, they all buy it, and then it kind of, Bitcoin drifts away. I don't think it's going to drift away, but it'd be funny if that was the case, that the ETF did mark the top. I think it's unlikely that that is the case. I think more likely Bitcoin will continue, of course, but it's a good thing. But it's strange to see it so normalized. Having been around for multiple cycles, it's strange to see Bitcoin so normal. It's strange to see it part of the everyday diaspora and just part of the everyday financial system where you don't have to like get a cold wallet and do all this weird stuff. You can buy it in Fidelity, or you can buy all these ETFs and all these tokenized BlackRock and all this stuff. And so the world's changing quickly. And I just hope folks don't get rugged, because, man, we've been around and I see people like, it's great right now and everyone's making a ton of money. But like, I've been through times where people are in dire, dire straits. And I want to hope that it continues to be wonderful and dog with hat and cat with a hat and whatever, just keeps running. But is it too good to be true? I don't know, I mean, because it's pretty good right now. And I just, I don't know. It's just, what do you think? You've been around, and it's just weird for me to see it so normal, right?
Yeah. So, Tucker, maybe if you can pull up Sol ETH, this could.
We got INJ too next for Bilal. But go ahead. Yeah.
Tucker, if you can pull up the Solana ETH pair, I think that adds to my confluence as far as like, everything being normalized, right? So if you take a look at the last cycle, right, it really wasn't until Ethereum broke all-time high when, the altcoin space and really the broader crypto space started to become normalized as far as like, content creators on TikTok and YouTube that have never done any content on crypto, right? If you guys remember, like all those drop shipping guys, all those like how to make $500 every day online, right? And it's like, the next week they start talking about 10 altcoins that could 100x just because ETH broke all-time high, right? So as far as like everything being normalized, I've really paid attention to Solana, given the fact that like, they have a phone, and that phone sold out pretty quickly, Cheds. And they also have like a phone service and all that stuff. Like they actually generate revenue. It's the first time that like you actually have one of these products have the ability to create less friction for people to understand crypto, right? You get the phone, you have a few tokens, you have a wallet, you can navigate DeFi and all that stuff. So I've been paying attention to all of that stuff, right? Things outside of Bitcoin, just because like I feel like Bitcoin now is becoming more of an institutional asset. But it's like you said, right? Before, people would kind of look at Bitcoin and be like, oh, isn't that a scam? Isn't that fake internet money? And I remember back in the lows, Cheds, if you remember in February of 2019, when Bitcoin broke out from about 3,500 and we hit like 4,300, right around there, I started seeing like buses with Kraken ads, Coinbase ads, other exchanges. And I'm like, like maybe this upcoming cycle, because I thought that, that was the bottom at 3K, 4K, and it was, that this cycle was going to be the first cycle where like, altcoins are thrown into the space, because everybody knew about Bitcoin after 2017. Everybody, it was all over news and all that stuff. But when we talk about, crypto, everything outside of Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, DeFi, NFTs, and all that stuff, it's really, that's where exchanges really shine, right? Coinbase does not make money unless it's in a bull market and people are buying altcoins left and right. You take a look at Coinbase stock, and that's, going up tremendously. So for me, I like to look at things that, retail would go into, and then use that asset like a Solana to then speculate on chain. And that's why you have things like Bonk, Dog with Hat, and all these other tokens built on Solana that are really going to push the envelope for like, this is crypto. These are the opportunities you can have. Opportunities being you can 1,000x your money in a quarter, or go minus 90% because you're throwing, the only 20, 30K you have into 40 different altcoins that, are 5 mil market cap, and they only have 300K worth of liquidity, right? So it's like, it's sort of like a catch-22, right? Like people come into crypto and they're not focusing on the most important asset that you have when you get into crypto. And that asset is time, right? This market demands the most important currency that we're all born with, but only have a finite amount, and that's time. So
isn't it luck? Don't you need luck? I feel like that's what you need too, right?
Yeah. And also I'd say joining Twitter is very, very like pivotal. I think if you're not on Twitter, man, if you're not using Twitter a couple hours a day while you're in crypto, you're just going to be lost, man. I mean, just look at Luna, right? If you weren't on Twitter, you basically just thought Luna was an up-only asset. And same thing with FTX, right? So that's why I like using sentiment and kind of seeing the overall vibe of the market, right? And, when people are like, oh, Solana breaks down, this, that, and the other, and I'm like, you're not understanding. With crypto, normal people, they only care about price. Price makes everything in this market, right? You can have the best tech in the world, the best team in the world, but if nobody knows what your product is, it doesn't really matter, right? It's kind of like a Lamborghini, right? Anybody that's been in a Lamborghini knows that. I mean, I don't want to generalize here, but if you ride inside a Lambo, you'll see just how fragile the parts are. When you grab the wheel, it feels like it's going to come off. When you close the door, it feels like you're strong enough to rip the hinge off the car. And that's basically what Solana is, right? It looks pretty and all that stuff, but whenever it's battle tested, it breaks down. Transactions aren't able to go through, but it doesn't matter because people love the look. They love the brand name. And that's sort of, a left curve analogy that I like to use for crypto. But listen, guys, I think this is a record. We've got almost 500 people in here. Go ahead and smash that like button. Go ahead and drop some comments, any charts that you guys want to see. My name's Wabi, and I host these live streams every Thursday on Because Bitcoin at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. EST. Myself and another fellow content creator, investor in the digital asset space, they come on and join me for about 30 to 45 minutes to talk all things markets. So if you guys are enjoying this, go ahead and smash that like button. It only takes a few seconds, really helps out with the algorithm. So smash that like button. I want to see at least 50 likes here. And if you guys have any chart requests,
let's do INJ for my man. But I was going to say real quick with Sol, I'm glad to see it recover after the whole FTX debacle. I mean, because you know what I mean? Like, it was down in like the teens. And I know a lot of people probably held it all the way down, all the way up, interestingly enough. I'm just glad to see it back because it feels like it's a proxy for the market, the same way kind of BNB is, right? Like BNB is strong because altcoins are strong. And so for me, who I want a good functioning, healthy market, I'm happy to see Sol kicking butt.
Yeah, I honestly think, again, this is just dubious speculation, but I sort of feel that Sol is actually going to hit an all-time high before Ethereum will. And I kind of compare it to BNB last cycle with the whole Binance Smart Chain, and BNB ended up going to like the top 5, and ETH was just consolidating at like 700, 800 bucks. But yeah, we've got Injective, man. Cheds, what are your thoughts on INJ? It's kind of been in this long accumulation range for about 3.5 months, brother.
I don't like the fail. I mean, it's still obviously a bullish chart. I just don't like the failed breakout. I mean, it was a really nice, you talked about Link earlier, and Link had that nice range sideways, and it broke out from like $9. And here it broke above 45, and then it failed to hold that. I don't like that. You see the failed breakout? It's the only thing that's kind of bugging me.
Yeah, man, it's sort of like these weird swing fill patterns where you have like a 5-10% breakout above the high, and then it's like, all right, time to move on, right? And so that tells me that the price action is very predatory, and a lot of that upthrust mainly comes from derivatives, right? Whenever you have that sort of price action, and it is what it is. But
it is, yeah.
I'm sort of comparing INJ, and Tucker, if you can draw some fib lines. If you draw a fib line all the way to about 120, 130, it was the same fib line where Luna had actually topped out at last cycle. So I'm also using INJ as sort of like the first massive top for altcoins before like a 60% retracement.
Yeah. I mean, I've got one up to 3618. Are you drawing it from the most recent top?
Yeah. It gotcha. Should take me like right above the 3618. Right around there.
I got one there. Yeah.
So we're going to 140. Is that where we're going?
I think so, man. I think
really.
Q1 of next year. I think INJ is gonna be at 3 digits, and I think Sol is probably gonna be at like 500. And
what?
Yeah. You can quote me on that, man.
It's at 180 right now, though.
Oh no, I'm saying I'm saying for Injective. I think.
Okay. But you said Sol will be at 500, right?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's just based on like my left curve way of thinking.
Yeah.
Usually when you look at trending markets, right, whether it's a bull market or a bear market, most of the volatility tends to happen from Q1 all the way to early Q2, and then it reignites the latter 25% of Q3. So second half of October all the way through Q4, those are the major pockets of volatility. And even in a bull market, right? If you take a look at 2017, if you take a look at 2021, those major years, most of the volatility was comprised within 2 quarters, and the rest of the time it's just grinding down or chop solidating, right? The crypto market loves to test your patience by doing nothing, right? Even in the bear market, if you guys remember, after that summer rally where Bitcoin hit like 24K, it basically did nothing and volatility was destroyed. You guys remember, like, BTC was moving in a $100 to $300 range, especially at the lows, right? So I feel like, once again, time is something that people really underestimate, especially with altcoins. I think that's like the number one thing that people really need to have patience with. But there does come a time and place, Cheds, where I believe that if you're holding an asset and it's just doing nothing compared to the rest of the market, that it's time to look, as you say, for relative strength. And with something like Injective, right, and most of the volatility for Injective was in Q1 and Q4, it's basically just been bleeding against Bitcoin and even Ethereum for about 3 months, man. But how are you viewing the INJ BTC chart? That actually looks like a bear market. I'm not even gonna.
But Bitcoin's strong. It's this thing with like looking at like versus Bitcoin, because like if you look at Ethereum versus Bitcoin, it's a pretty weak chart. And I had an interesting discussion with one of the other Bitcoin hosts, because Bitcoin hosts, like last time I did Spaces. Yeah. And he had called the bottom. I'm like, I'm not seeing it yet. And so if you look at the chart, it's not impressive, but Ethereum's a good looking chart itself, USD. So it's like, is it fair to compare to Bitcoin, right? Like with Bitcoin's like absolute face ripping for the last, several months. So, I mean, it's like Alt's supposed to keep up with that. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like you'd think, oh, Ethereum must be $600, right? Based on the ETH BTC chart, but you look at it, it still looks really good.
Yeah, I think I honestly think Ethereum is going to catch its wins, and I'd love to ask you this, Cheds,
Yeah.
before we wrap up and just cover two more charts here. But
Okay.
I feel like ETH BTC is not only from a sentiment perspective, but also from a price perspective. And you can take a look at those three peaks that we've had on the daily.
Yeah.
I sort of feel that ETH BTC is right where Bitcoin was last year when it was just ping ponging from 24 to 27K. And it really wasn't until the ETF narrative really started to kick in. And I think, again, this is just dubious speculation, guys. There's over 500 people in here. Thank you guys so much, by the way. Smash that like button. Throw some W's in the chat. Shout out to Tucker and Cheds for joining me today for Market Rants. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream here. I feel that once the ETF is approved and we actually have some quote-unquote real dollars coming into this, I think that is when ETH BTC is really going to start to rally, because for right now, guys, I sort of sense that everybody knows that, Solana and all these other tokens are probably going to steal a lot of market share. What are your thoughts on that, Cheds, on the prospect of an ETH ETF? And that's when ETH will probably have its first blow-off leg. And my blow-off leg, just to add some context, if you remember, from from January of 2021 through April, it rallied from about $600 to about $3,000. And that was the first real, golden pocket of upside liquidity. I know that it went to like 42, 4,300, but for the most part, meat of the move happened from 600 to about 3K in about 2-3 months, right? So what are your thoughts on that sort of prospect for ETH BTC?
I think if it becomes clear it's going to happen, or there's more, then they'll probably get some hype, and maybe that's what it needs to kind of break out of its relative lack of the fact that it's going sideways versus Bitcoin and not outperforming. And we're going to need some real substantial, news or confirmation to maybe see that, because classically we do see Ethereum taking off when Bitcoin tops, and Bitcoin, there's no real evidence yet that it really has topped. So you need Bitcoin to pause, and then you probably need some substantial, verifiable, or likely hype. And again, I'm not a fundamental analyst. I'm like the worst in the world, but you'd need like really good, filings and all those people at Bloomberg covering it and all these smart people saying it's coming this summer. Right now it seems up in the air. So I think you're going to need some more solid evidence that it's coming, and then maybe that would kickstart the kind of outperformance.
All right, cool. So we've got about 3 minutes left. Then I got to go ahead and jump on our community Discord call. So we do have one request in the chat. I'll go ahead and cover the latest one. Stay USDT. So we'll check that out. That's a token that I do hold, man. Cheds, what are your thoughts on this, man? Looks like a pretty clean trend, man.
I don't see a chart. There's no history. I don't like. I can't do. I see this and I can't do TA. I just don't see a trend. I see a little bit of data that's clearly bullish because it's rising, but there's no prior history. There's no real subtlety to it, right? I see these, and it's really hard for me to have confidence in any kind of a TA call. And what you're doing is good. You're laying out the volume, so you know where the accumulation is, and maybe you can use that to identify, demand. But I've just like my mind see this, and I see it. I'm like, okay, I can't really TA this because it's just not enough history.
So when you say not enough history, would you say that like you rather chart something that maybe has like at least a year worth? Very minimum.
Absolutely, very minimum.
Yeah, I kind of just left curve everything.
Yeah, but you're good with you get like the stuff I don't get. Like the half of your stuff you're talking about, I don't understand because I'm not a fundamental analyst. And so you can understand the chains and the whatever else, the swaps. And I'm I'm a simple guy. Number go up, number go down, resistance, support, So
yeah. Man, Cheds, man, unfortunately I do have to cut the live stream short.
Okay.
I know we had a few technical difficulties as we got started, but
it's your fault.
Yeah. Next time, guys, stream will start hopefully within the first 5 minutes and not within the 10-minute mark. But just give me a chance, guys. Still getting used to all this, but thank you all so much for the support. almost 600 people. I think this is a record for our YouTube. So thank you all so much, man. I'm the luckiest man in the world to be doing this today. So
Feels good, right? Feels
yeah,
good.
it does, man.
People
it
want
does.
content. People just want content, and you try your best. And if you mess it up, you're like, "Whoops, I tried, and I'll try again next time." And people love it.
Yeah. Well, man, Tucker, shout out to you as well. Thanks for hopping on the stream with me, helping me out with the charts and all that stuff. I am going to film a video today, by the way, guys, with Trader XO. That video is going to be uploaded on our YouTube on Saturday. So, Cheds, thank you all so much. Thank you so much once again, man. Where can people find you, brother? Although I know people are already familiar with you. What's the best way to keep up with your content and all that good stuff?
Twitter, Big Cheds. And by the way, I've almost finished doing my cancer memoir for free on YouTube. I've recorded 95% of the chapters, so check that out. Battles with Cancer. If
Man,
folks know anybody who that might help.
I've actually been listening to that. I'm on the first video, man. You have a very good voice, man, for narration. I can feel the emotion in your voice. It's not just like, just dull and monotone.
No, this is real. This has been like the last 5 years of my life. So
yeah, man, it's absolutely beautiful story, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Coming on. And guys, shout out to you in the chat. Thank you so much. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. We're Because Bitcoin. We're a financial media company focused on all things digital assets. We produce 2 daily live streams for you guys. First stream is here on YouTube at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Second show is Market Talk, hosted by me. Pretty much every day throughout the week except the weekends and Thursday. But on Thursdays, I produce Market Rants every Thursday at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. EST. Kind of depends on who I'm going to have because I know there's some time zone differences. And outside of that, feel free to subscribe and smash those, what is it? Twitter notifications, the bell icon to keep up with all of our uploads. I'll be uploading some videos every Saturday and Sunday. And yeah, thank you all so much. Take care. God bless you all. Shout out to all 578 of you. Thank you all so much, man. So I'll see you all on Twitter Spaces tomorrow at 4:30 p.m. EST. And you can follow me. I think there's a link down below there or something if you want to follow me on my personal. It's at King Wabi with 2 I's. So thank you all so much. Take care. Bye.